Our children have recorded overall improvements in their pass rates at this year's sitting of the CSEC and CAPE exams. We'd like to extend our heartiest congratulations to those who have aced their tests. For those who did not do as planned, we encourage you to resit those exams. After all, the true measure of success is how many times you can bounce back from failure. You're tuned to Jamaica Magazine. I'm Theodore Henry. Welcome.
What can a little germs do?
Pink eye running belly, even flu. Germs can make them happen to you.
Put germs on our manners with these. Cover your mouth when you cough and sneeze. Always wash your hand with water and soap. Keep dirty hands from your eyes and your nose and your mouth. You don't want to be sick, take care. Practice every day, no germs around here. A message from the Ministry of Health.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Monday, August 26. Minister of Finance Dr. Nigel Clarke says the country's macroeconomic successes over the last 6.5 years under 2 IMF agreements must be attributed to the hard work, determination, and sacrifice of the Jamaican people. According to Minister Clarke, over the period the country's debt has been reduced significantly, macroeconomic stability has become entrenched, economic growth has returned, and there has been a substantial increase in employment.
And we owe it to the Jamaican people to preserve these gains, to build on these gains, even as we work towards addressing other challenges.
The Finance Minister was speaking at a MOU signing to extend the Economic Program Oversight Committee (EPOC's) domestic monitoring of Jamaica's economic reform program. This will go beyond the end of the precautionary standby arrangement with the IMF in November. Minister Clarke says the MOU's extension follows the government's agreement with the IMF to keep its office in Jamaica open for 2 years following the end of the program.
These decisions are a clear demonstration of the government's commitment and intent to maintain a credible macroeconomic path, inclusive of a fiscal trajectory that's consistent with our fiscal responsibility framework long into the future, providing a foundation for economic opportunity for current and future generations.
Meanwhile, the International Monetary Fund (IMF) is lauding the government for initiating measures to preserve and bolster the economic gains recorded over the last 6.5 years. IMF resident representative Dr. Constant Lonkengwana says he believes the main building blocks are being put in place to ensure that the exit from the IMF is smooth.
Not out of the wood yet, but the cost has been huge. So I believe the fact that Jamaican people are plugged in and very engaged in the policy discussions is in and of itself a guardian to that sound economic policy going forward.
Dr. Lonkengwana says the IMF will remain as a consultation body to Jamaica after it leaves the precautionary standby arrangement in November.
We will not be in the business of agreeing on specific targets with the government. Jamaica will essentially be on the driver's seat. We will continue to provide our technical expertise where needed, because I must say that technical assistance is one of the main functions of the IMF, because we do believe that helping countries to strengthen the economic institutions will allow those countries to implement sound policy in order to raise the living standards of their people.
The Ministry of Agriculture says the feasibility study being developed for a proposed irrigation system in Flagaman, St. Elizabeth is far advanced. The system is projected to take water from the Black River to supply about 5,000 farmers whose cultivations are impacted by drought annually. State Minister of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries, Floyd Green, says the final report on the feasibility study should be completed by December, enabling the government to allocate the funding for the project. Minister Green says preliminary data from the study has determined that the Black River has the capacity to adequately supply Flagaman and adjoining communities. He says plans are underway to design the layout of the irrigation system and determine the cost for the project's implementation. Minister Green was speaking recently while on a tour of farms that were severely affected by fire a week before. Still on the issue of water, the Ministry of Education says it will be conducting surveys to assess water shortages in affected schools across the country. Minister with Oversight, Carl Samuda, says the assessment will be done over a month and is to start shortly, so plans can be put in place to effect change immediately. He emphasizes that this is being done with a view to have water tanks and the necessary piping installed in schools to ensure water is available during dry spells and inconsistent supply. The Education Minister was addressing the Jamaica Teachers Association's 55th annual conference in Montego Bay recently. The Scientific Research Council, SRC, has strengthened its capacity to carry out food reformulation, with upgrades to its equipment costing $100 million. Executive Director Dr. Cliff Riley says the initiative is to assist manufacturers in making their products healthier for consumers.
We're all aware of the discussions in terms of reducing the amount of sugar, reducing the amount of salts, as well as different types of fats that are allowed in the different food types. In an effort to reduce the levels of obesity, reduce the incidence of type 2 diabetes, hypertension, and other non-communicable diseases.
Dr. Riley was speaking at a recent JIS think tank. To support the different manufacturing institutions, he says SRC technical staff have been trained in how to use the equipment, and an evaluation process begins this week.
And we want to ensure that what is in a label is actually what is in the food. If you report 30 grams of sugar per serving, it should be 30 grams of sugar plus or minus 10% as accepted internationally. It can't be 50 and report 30. So the level of accountability should increase significantly, and I believe the Ministry of Health and the different regulatory bodies are now able to better hold our manufacturers to higher levels of accountability for what they report on the actual labels.
The food reformulation initiative is being led by the Ministry of Health and Wellness and the University of Technology. SRC and the Bureau of Standards Jamaica are the verification bodies. And finally, scholarships, bursaries, and grants amounting to $5.1 million have been awarded to 28 students from across the island to offset tuition and related expenses. State Minister of Education, Youth and Information, Orlando Terrelong, has lauded Burger King Jamaica for the support to students who will be pursuing secondary and tertiary studies beginning in September.
The best investment we can make in Jamaica is in our youth. The best investment we can make is in developing the human capital of this country. And these young kings and young queens are that human capital. It is in them that we must spend millions and billions of dollars to ensure their prosperity and the prosperity of our nation.
And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
Hurricanes can strike at any time. In the event of one, be prepared to act quickly. If a hurricane watch or warning has been issued, review your home disaster response plan. Map out likely routes to evacuate if your home is at risk, and confirm with relatives or friends you plan to stay with. Also, confirm the location of the nearest shelter. Check your emergency supplies and restock if necessary. Remember, disasters do happen, so be prepared.
Ensure you and your child have a smooth transition into the new academic year. See how next.
It's that time of year again when we're preparing for back to school. And as a commission, we want to ensure that we're giving you practical help as to what you need to be doing to ensure your children are very prepared for school. One of the things we recommend is that parents must understand the learning profile of their children. Understand who they are as learners. If you can have conversations with the teacher about their learning interests, their preferences, or disabilities or challenges that they have. Some children, for example, will require preferential seating. These are some of the things you will need to know so that your children can be comfortable and benefit from their learning. You also need to carry a positive attitude so that that can be translated to the children. Develop a good rapport with the teachers. Try to learn as many of the names of the teachers as you can, and also collect as many cell phone numbers as you can. And in fact, there are teachers who are part of WhatsApp groups. And so this should be encouraged because it keeps you abreast as to what's going on with the children and also what they will need in order to improve the learning outcomes. Parents, the National Parenting Support Commission is here for you. We wish you a successful year. All the best.
Mommy?
Yes, Zoe?
Can we read this book? It will only take 10 minutes.
Sure, sit down. Every spring, Madame Angel Wing arranges a...
Do you have 10 minutes? Read with your child today. Reading with your children for just 10 minutes each day helps develop their language and listening skills, stimulates their imagination, and expands their understanding of the world. So, start reading with your child today.
School for most of our children is just a week away. Parents, are you ready for the new school year? Let's see.
Do you hear that? You hear that? Yes, the start of the new school year is upon us, and I'm sure parents and children are ready and raring to go. Today, we'll just go through some of the things you'll need to have a smooth and worry-free transition from the lazy days of summer to the industrious school days ahead.
At this time, the last minute things would be ensuring they have their birth certificate, immunization card, as well as a child's medical.
An important part of the process of returning to school is registration. This ensures that there is a record available to prove enrollment at a school. This also tells the school administrators the correct number of students to expect so they can properly prepare for the young learners in the upcoming academic year. Whether it's going to a new school or to a new grade at your old school, registration is filled with a host of benefits for teacher, parent, and student. The teacher will get an idea of the number of children in the class and prepare for them. The student will get to meet the form teacher as well as other classmates, and the parent will receive well-needed information about getting the child ready for school. These include a book list, instructions on how to construct the school uniform, and a medical form. A medical record is one sure way to safeguard a student's safety at school. That's why the Ministry of Education mandates that students entering primary and secondary schools undergo a medical examination. The medical form that's filled out by a doctor has well-needed information on ailments, allergies, or physical disabilities that would preclude a child from taking part in certain activities, such as physical education or a school trip to a farm that might put the child's life in danger. Filling out the medical form is a top priority. Even though some schools may have allowed the child to register without the form, until that's done, registration at the school is incomplete. So ensure that the medical examination form is filled out and returned to the school before the start of the academic year. Buying the approved texts is essential to following the school syllabus to academic success. In the past, parents have complained that their children do not use all the books prescribed on the book list, or that they cannot pass on the books to their younger children. That is now history, as the Ministry of Education has moved to carry out a thorough reform of the book lists in government schools. So now there's a ministry-approved book list that parents can buy from to give their children the tools to academic success. So parents, be sure to check the papers or call the Ministry of Education for the approved book lists for your children. At registration, parents should have been given a drawing of what the uniform should look like, including specifications such as length, color, and style. This would have given parents time to have the uniform sewn or bought. The correct color socks, shoes, hair accessories, bag, and watch would have also been on the list of proper school attire, so be sure to revisit the lists to see if you have bought the right things. Last-minute stops to the local bookstore for stationery and school supplies are now in order. And whether you're using public or private transportation to get your child to and from school, it's always a good idea to do dry runs to map out the shortest routes. So now that you've covered registration, filled out the medical examination form, followed the book list and uniform requirements, you and your child are ready for the upcoming school year.
Life is all about making decisions, choosing from a number of options to do a particular thing, which may result in a specific outcome.
It can be difficult, but there are 4 things you can do to help make that decision.
Stop. Check out what's happening and remind yourself to think before acting.
Think.
Make sure you're aware of the choices, all the advantages and disadvantages. Then think about the consequences.
Act.
Choose the best option and do something about it.
Review.
Finally, review what you have done and determine if it was good or bad. That way, you'll be in a better position to make the next decision, whether big or simple.
We don't want the new school year to catch you flat-footed, especially in the kitchen. You can thank me later.
Breakfast is said to be the most important meal of the day. But how often have we been having breakfast? We've been skipping breakfast morning after morning. Do we really want to pass on this poor health practice to our children? I don't think so. So we've decided to get some help. The Granville campus of the Hartress NTA's Northwest TVET Institute has offered to render some assistance by giving us some quick and easy meal ideas that's fit for the entire family. Our facilitator today is sous chef Randy Plummer. Thanks for having us, Randy.
Hi Sandra, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Welcome to Granville campus. Today we'll be doing some healthy, nutritious meals just to give parents and caregivers a workable example of what they can do in no time.
So before we get into business, Randy, why is it so important for us to have a healthy breakfast?
Well, it's important to have a healthy breakfast because the body, throughout the night, the body loses all the nutrients that it would have gotten in the day. And what the breakfast does now, it introduces new nutrients to the body, giving the body energy so you can carry out given tasks throughout the day. Also, studies have shown where students who have, or children who have healthy breakfast, they tend to concentrate better in school or at their work.
Some of us parents can hardly find time to send our children to school on time, much less cook meals in the mornings. What do you recommend?
Well, there's a whole lot of easy breakfast ideas. Simple thing, just as a boiled egg with some tomatoes, introducing protein along with vitamin C. Another example, oatmeal porridge with raisins. Oats is a good source of fiber. Raisins a good source of vitamin C also. So there are many ways that you can do simple dishes that doesn't take much time.
Okay, so with that said, let's get started.
Okay. Welcome to our kitchen. Today I have assisting me, Sapphire. We're doing some easy breakfast meal ideas. The meals are so easy to prepare, so you can have your children assist you. Today we'll be preparing mackerel croquettes. The ingredients are mackerel, escallion, mixed vegetables, red onions, and white onions. Also, we'll be using the breading process. The ingredients for the breading process are flour, egg wash, and the breadcrumb. For children who suffer from celiac disease, instead of using our regular breadcrumb, you can use the gluten-free breadcrumb. So what we'll be doing now is basically adding all our ingredients and mixing them together. So first we'll add the sweet potato. And sweet potato is rich in iron and potassium. We'll add the mackerel flakes.
So Randy, how long does this meal usually take to prepare?
It doesn't take more than 5 minutes. So what I would suggest to parents who work and have no time to prepare the meals in the morning, prep all ingredients from overnight, put them in the fridge, and then go ahead and deep fry them in the morning. And that will take the most 3 minutes. So what I'll have Sapphire doing now is just mixing the ingredients for me. Okay, well done, Sapphire. We'll now add some eggs for binding. Just mix the ingredients thoroughly. What we're going to do now is make some mini balls. So just squash everything together. It's almost the size of a golf ball. So we then coat it in flour, then egg wash, then breadcrumb. Sapphire is going to help me make one of the balls. Take up a small amount, squash it together. Squash it. Squash it with your hands like that. Squash it and just gently roll it. Okay, well done, Sapphire.
Okay, and how many of these balls do you usually recommend?
Normally for age group 5 to 11, I would recommend 8 ounces. So you're looking at about 4 to 5 of these balls. And portion control is very important because the correct portioning of food alleviates obese children. You have a whole lot of obese children all across the world, and overeating is one of the main factors. And now we'll move to the fryer. We're going to fry these croquettes until they are golden brown. And this should take no longer than 2 to 3 minutes. And the taste is very great. So the mothers and single mothers who have a short period on their hands to prepare breakfast in the morning, this is one of the easier way to go. And it's very nutritious. As you saw, we had a lot of vegetables in there, along with the mackerel that is rich in omega-3. You know, omega-3 is good for heart health. It prevents against heart disease. If you are a vegetarian, you can use veggie chunks or veggie mince.
Quick and easy to prepare and also nutritious. Don't they look nice? Wow, this is really good. Come here, help yourself.
When you're on the road, take your time. When you're on the road, bear this in mind. When you're on the road, you could save a life when you're on the road.
I'm seeing an increased number of requests for assistance to pay for registration packages. And there is a sense that the more expensive the school is, the more exclusive it is, and the better the performance is going to be. And every parent wants the best for their child, so they're going to find the money. Now, I'm not saying that the parents must not contribute, but sometimes we miss the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is to make sure that no child, regardless of the income status of their household, is in any way deprived of education. As it was when we started common entrance, before we got independence, to when we changed over to GSAT, to now we changed to PEP, is to get all Jamaicans into the education system with a fair chance of getting a solid education so that they can actualize and fulfill themselves.
And that's where we draw the curtains down on another Jamaica Magazine. Catch up on this and past shows by visiting jis.gov.jm or our YouTube channel. The information also flows on all the major social media sites and on our mobile app that's Android and iOS compatible. On behalf of the entire team here at the JIS, I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.